The game of chess, with all its elegance and strategy, was born in Persia, modern-day Iran. Even the term checkmate is a relic of that origin, derived from the Persian phrase shamat, meaning the king is dead. But in the 20th century, Iran became a board for a different kind of game, not one played with knights and pawns, but spies, oil barons, and political titans. Today, we're diving into Operation Ajax, a Cold War-era coup d'etat that turned Iran into a geopolitical chessboard that ended up with the Shah assuming near absolute power. The traditional story goes like this. In 1953, the Iranian Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh nationalized the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, defying British interests and threatening Western access to oil. Fearing a communist takeover in the wake of growing instability, the United States, under President Eisenhower and the direction of the CIA, teamed up with British intelligence to remove Mossadegh from power. The result was Operation Ajax, a swift, covert mission that restored the Shah to the throne and kept Iran firmly in the Western sphere during the Cold War. I wanted to dive deeper into Operation Ajax because, despite its massive historical impact, it often only gets a passing mention, even in college-level history courses. The complexities of the event, from Cold War politics to imperial legacies, makes it a tough topic to untangle. So I took this as a chance to look beyond the surface. Using the America, History and Life with Full Text database, I sought out scholarly sources that could offer a more nuanced perspective. The first source I found, Roosev's Operation Ajax Revisited, drew from British and American archives, memoirs, and secondary histories to reconstruct the coup in rich detail. She shows that British officials were outraged by Iran's nationalization of oil, fearing the collapse of their influence and economy. Meanwhile, U.S. leaders gripped by Cold War paranoia, worried that a weakened Iran might fall into communism. But behind those fears lay strategic ambition. America wasn't just helping an ally, it was seizing the chance to replace fading British power in the Middle East with its own. Historian Steve Marsh challenges the idea that Eisenhower's team suddenly pivoted to intervention. Using policy documents and diplomatic correspondence, he argues that both the Truman and Eisenhower administrations shared long-term strategic goals in Iran, keeping Soviet influence out and keeping the oil flowing west. The coup wasn't a knee-jerk reaction, but the climax of a slow-building policy. By the time Eisenhower entered office, options were shrinking fast, and covert action seemed like the only path to preserve Western interests and Iran's oil before it slipped away entirely. Saba Mahmood's article focuses less on what happened and more on how we know what happened. She examines how the official record remains frustratingly incomplete. U.S. and British governments have withheld or even destroyed key documents. That leaves historians relying heavily on memoirs from the CIA and MI6 agents, which are often self-serving and censored. Mahmood warns that this colonial aphasia, or a selective forgetting of imperial history, clouds our understanding, making it hard to grasp the full consequences of the coup, or who exactly pulled which strings behind the scenes. Operation Ajax wasn't just a Cold War sideshow. It was a turning point that reshaped Iran, the Middle East, and the way the U.S. wielded power abroad. But as the scholarship shows, the official story is woefully incomplete, and in some ways, deliberately obscured. That's why historians must keep re-examining events like this, to separate myth from motive, and to understand the deeper forces at play. Like a chess match, every move in this operation was layered with strategy, deception, and long-term consequences. And just as in chess, knowing who made which move and why is the key to understanding how the game truly unfolded. Thanks for watching my video, and I invite you to go ahead and leave your feedback. I'll see you on the next one.